What is up, and welcome in to the Easy Smoke and the GM podcast. I'm your host, Ezra McCann, and I'm joined, as always, by my outstanding co-host. He's a Chicago Public League legend. He's a Simeon Wolverine legend. He's a Grambling State Tiger legend. He played second base for them back in the day. He was all SWAC. It's Brandon Williams, a.k.a. Coach Smoke. And we've got our NFL draft analyst. You can catch his work at NBC Sports Chicago. He'll be on Football Night in Chicago, giving his opinion on what teams will do in the NFL draft. He's our GM. He's Glenn Morgan. Gentlemen, what's going on? How you guys doing?
Doing all right.
Nah, doing all right, man. I mean, Smoke may be a Wolverine, but Wolverine is one of my favorite X-Men. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I don't have much
You
to
don't
say
have
about
a favorite?
What?
Simeon Wolverines.
Oh, I'm about to say you don't have a favorite X-Men?
A favorite X-Men? That's a good question.
Storm. And I know why she's your favorite X-Men.
Yeah, Storm is
Your
in
lush.
there. Storm is in there. Maybe a little Jean Grey.
A little Phoenix, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. There are reasons for that, but we won't dwell on that.
Yeah. I think for me, Wolverine and Magneto, even though he's a villain, I guess.
Well, every now and again he's dabbled. Every now and again he's been an anti-hero, dabbled.
I think Glenn, I think we had this conversation. I didn't think that Magneto is necessarily a villain.
He's definitely a villain. He's killed. He's murdered many people, but he's vacillated back and forth.
But for the cause, though, that doesn't make you a villain.
Yeah, the cause is I'm mad at you. I'm going to kill you, and you're not letting me get my way, so you must die. Yeah, it's. I'm sure you can justify it however you want to.
I see him more as a vigilante.
Not even close. He's like like a mass murderer. I mean, if anything, you want to say political
for the cause of the mutants.
That's not vigilante. You want to say political dissident, maybe, but I don't know if you want to call him a vigilante. He ain't saving nobody from crimes. Dude, straight out there killing people and dropping planets on and people's houses and small countries and all types of crazy stuff. Anyway, we digress.
Yeah. So I guess, man, we got to start off with what the number one topic in sports is as we record right now, and that's the women's national championship game. Who'd have thunk?
Who'd have thunk,
man? LSU and Iowa, really good game. Actually, a really good, man. The tournament overall
on the women's side,
was excellent. Excellent. I was, we were at work the night of the Final Four, and we could have walked out, but we had to stick around and stay tuned to the South Carolina Iowa game, and then yesterday. The LSU Iowa game was phenomenal. Caitlin Clark can play. Let's lead with that. She can play. And we talked about her a couple weeks ago. She's
a hooper.
Yeah. Angel Reese is a hooper.
There's a lot of them are.
She can play.
Yeah, definitely.
Just that I think LSU's team overall was better. But
yes.
But the topic of conversation, LSU won, obviously. Topic of conversation has been the what would you call it?
The backlash of the
scathing criticism
of Angel Reese's reaction to getting the win. And
not reaction, classless attack on Caitlin Clark. Right. Let's call it what it is, guys. Classless attack on Caitlin Clark.
How dare she do that?
Unreasonable. It's just so base to come over there, be in her face like that, to just and to stick with it for as long as she did. I mean, she just kept doing it. She just kept taunting her and more in her face. And Caitlin showed such class and such composure to walk away with her head tucked between her tail because they got their ass whooped. She didn't see it because she had her head down because Angel Reese and LSU did to her what she had been doing to other teams, talking about with the little hand in the face thing, talking about you can't see this or whatever that's supposed to mean.
John Cena.
John Cena.
Yeah, right, John Cena.
Yeah.
Right. Same thing that Caitlin was doing to South Carolina and other people. She's been doing all year.
Yeah.
But you know, people see what they want to see, and then they narrate on what they feel they want to opine on because of how they think they see it or what the expectations are. And I say this right quick. I'm so glad that during the press conference, Angel Reese got a chance to say exactly and call everybody out for exactly the hypocritical way that they view her and people that look like her and her teammates, so on and so forth. Because it's okay when other cats do it. They're cool. They're the cool kids, or they're showing such grit and whatever. She does it back at them. It's just like, oh, I can't believe she's doing that. Yeah, get out of here, man, with that noise, man. I'm glad she called him out, and she's right, man. Yeah. She's full stop right about that.
I agree wholeheartedly, and listeners don't think what GM was saying what Caitlin Clark does is wrong either. Like,
no, not at all.
No, it's not.
It's not wrong either. We're just saying keep it consistent on both sides. Don't say Caitlin Clark doing it is fine, it's passionate, and then when Angel Reese does it, it's a problem. Like, no, it's passionate. Both of them are showing passion for the game. Yes, kind of two different ways of how it was going. I heard a perspective today where it was like, LSU felt disrespected. And I kind of agree. The whole talk has been Caitlin Clark. And hey, we just took down the big bad Caitlin Clark. They felt it. Look, I don't think Caitlin took any offense to it either, in my opinion. I think, she lost. It is what it is, man.
She hadn't said anything about it.
Yeah. And I'm like, shoot, I loved Angel's response to the critics. Like, that's how you respond. She's like, if you've been following LSU and you've been following Angel Reese all year, she has been scrutinized all year because of her way of her actions while she plays. She's very colorful, I would say. Like, she's gonna talk, she's gonna trash talk, she gonna get a bucket and she gonna do the you too small. Like, she does it all, and it was constant talk about it. And no better way than to flaunt and do you when you at the top. You can't stop her. Like, she won it all. What, like she said, what y'all gonna say now? What y'all gonna say now? Y'all can't say nothing, and now she can do all the talking. Yeah, people can be mad all they want to. She's at the top of the throne right now. Like, what can be said? So I applaud her. I applaud LSU, being, at a HBCU in Louisiana. Of course, a part of me was rooting for the state of Louisiana. I personally wanted to see South Carolina LSU rematch.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm not going to take away from what the game plan Iowa had against, SC. And on the flip side, I was kind of happy my boss, his daughter is on Iowa. He's an underclassman on Iowa. She's a role player. She didn't get much playing time in the Final Four, if any. But, that was cool to know somebody who got somebody out there. But
that's cool.
But ultimately, the entire Final Four was must-see TV on the girls' side. Like, even the LSU Virginia Tech game. I don't know if y'all watched that one. Mm-mm. Like, it was LSU came out hot. Then Virginia Tech went to a zone, and it looked like LSU couldn't do a thing about it. and Virginia Tech went up, I want to say double figures, and then fourth quarter LSU just turned it on. And then we know what happened with SC and Iowa. They just forced them to shoot.
Right.
And that was kind of my worry going into the championship game, like, because against Virginia Tech, LSU didn't show that they can shoot that well. The zone kind of gave them problems. I'm like, I know LSU their bigs is a little more swifter and athletic than South Carolina's bigs.
Right.
So I'm like, that will help. But man, that girl Carson came off the bench for LSU and was just firing them away.
Yeah.
And that killed everything Iowa wanted to do. They couldn't do nothing at that point, and it was great for women's basketball. Even though we are frustrated and pissed of the controversy that has come to Angel Reese, on the flip side, it's helping the women's game. That has been the talk since it happened.
Mm-hmm. True.
It's been the talk, and quite frankly, this is something the women's game need to get behind and push.
What can they do to keep this momentum going? They had 10 million viewers in the championship game yesterday. Highest ratings ever for the women's game. They even beat out some of the ESPN's NBA games in ratings in the past. So what can they do now just to keep this momentum going into the future?
I think kind of what they have been doing. I mean, like, what did they do so different this time? I don't think they did anything necessarily so different this time. I think the players, I think they've been tinkering for a very long time. And I think they finally found a situation where they're kind of the prelims to the men. So, kind of like how when you learn TV, when you get in taking TV class and you have block programming, that's kind of what they did here with the tournament. And I think that helped a little bit I wouldn't know if I wasn't going to say piggyback, but kind of right along with. So I think that's kind of helped. So there's not such a disparity of when you go watch, you can kind of, you kind of have a cornucopia of basketball during this period of time where every game matters, as opposed to NCAA or as opposed to professional basketball where you've got, you got a week and, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games, not 3, but, well, actually in some cases 3 games, whatever, what I'm trying to say is that here, every game matters, that last second shot, can be the difference between you going on and you crying on. So to keep it going, just keep with that. I think start focusing in on your stars. This tournament help generate. Because now Caitlin's coming back, Angel Reese is coming back. You've got these players returning, and unlike men's basketball, they be gone.
Yeah,
and so it's hard to keep that momentum. Here, you can generate the momentum, and now what they probably need to do next is start learning how to schedule, have maybe like a game or 2 potential opening, or have some type of tournament where you can kind of schedule some of these burgeoning,
like they do the boys tip-off thing.
Yeah,
where you got the Duke versus Kentucky,
right? Stuff
like that. Yeah,
right. So next year, if you came in, you had something like that, and you've got Iowa and LSU in a 4-team tournament, people going to tune in automatically right away and make it so that they don't play each other right away, so that maybe they meet in a championship in that tournament.
I feel like they've done that before. It's just that for whatever reason now,
what you know what I think? I think it's so Caitlin Clark. Yes, she's very dominant. She's at Iowa. What is Iowa basketball? It's nothing. It's been nothing. I'm not going to say it's nothing, but
it's won a championship.
But it's not UConn. It's not Tennessee.
It hasn't. Well, Tennessee's not Tennessee anymore.
But I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Like next year, Paige Buchers will be back for UConn. Like if UConn get back to I think it helped that UConn was not the typical UConn that we typically see. South Carolina was a different type of dominant. They wasn't the type of dominant of a UConn in the past where they're well-rounded. As we saw, South Carolina just big, strong, physical team. They're going to play down low in the paint. They don't really have the outside shooting and perimeter play like that. But I think we saw some parity this year.
We saw some parity. I think what we're also, you said, why didn't they take in the past? In the past, we didn't have social media like we do now. That's pushing it. And now the young ladies are becoming more self-assured and asserting themselves with the personalities are starting to show and become, personalities on the court. You had, Deion Sanders, prime time. You got Andrew Reese, Bayou Barbie. So you're starting to get these monikers that come along with these personalities. You look at the coach, Mulkey. Everyone's talking about what she was wearing.
Blase, yeah. I don't know if I've been following her since the rap game. I'm talking about the point, number 4 for LSU.
Oh, right.
She was on Jermaine Dupri's show as a 12-year-old called the rap game. Okay. So that was another thing that, stuff like that drew me in. So
because, to your point, like I've been following women's basketball. I'm not saying so tough, but for the most part, because I went to Tennessee, so I've had interest in it because they were good dominant for so long, and going there and seeing Coach Summit, seeing how she coached, and seeing some of my classmates go to the Olympics, seeing some of my classmates playing on national TV, it's cool. Like you say, you get a coworker or your boss's child is on the team, so you feel an affinity, or there's a certain affinity you have for that team, or you're attached to it in some form or fashion. So you can't tell me Tennessee, UConn, when those teams meet, that they didn't get viewership, or Tennessee, Texas, or Stanford, or North Carolina. You had some teams, or even Baylor, when they had an old girl that was released recently, Griner. I mean,
Kilmulkey was their coach.
Yeah, Kilmulkey was the coach. She won 3 championships at Baylor. So the person, Tara was it Vanderveer over at the head coach of Stanford. I mean, you've had some personality, and a lot of these players, we've seen the women on the platform, as in a national platform where they're playing for the Olympics and stuff like that, or in that international platform. So some of the players and the personalities were kind of there. And who I hate. I call her a rat all the time. She always used to pop her shirt like popping your collar kind of thing. The point guard, the GOAT they call her now.
Bird?
No, not Bird. Her buddy.
Taurasi?
Fucking Taurasi.
Yeah, Taurasi.
Yeah, I just but you got the John Cena thing. She was going around throwing her, popping thing in Tennessee space all the time. Nobody was clowning her,
and that is true. Taurasi was different with that,
right?
That's true.
But here's the thing: what happens to women's sports in terms of the sustainability sometimes comes back to the general public and the male viewing public, who's predominantly view sports.
Yeah.
And what do we normally say? It gets back to sometimes something as trivial, as petty as how good they look, how attractive they may look. Remember I can't remember the radio dude who disparaged Rutgers
Imus.
Don Imus, right? Because they didn't look as classy as the Tennessee women. So basically, what you're saying is too many dark-skinned women with braids didn't appeal to you, but you like, some of the light-skinned sisters.
He went way
worse.
too far.
Yeah, I know.
He was the one with the nappy head. Right.
But Candace Parker was okay because she's more appealing, so to speak. So it comes back to those things, and those kind of things, they knock women's sports down because women's sports getting this kind of unwarranted criticism and these foul judgments, and so the response is a defensive one. And what do men not want to hear? Women being defensive about sports, like, oh, okay, you're taking it too serious, and so it gets dismissed and it gets pushed and shoved in a corner for another 5, 7, 10 years, But now here's an opportunity, and here we're on the precipice of it. But let's be real. Part of the reason why this got real big is because it was a Caucasian girl was balling. Yeah, you had a lot of people go, oh, how many people, just like the OJ trial. I mean, maybe not the best analogy, but how many people are pulling for Iowa? What do they look like? How many people are rooting against Iowa? What do they look like? How many people are rooting for LSU? What do they look like? How many people are rooting against LSU? What do they look like? Ironically, people rooting for Iowa look like the people who ain't rooting for LSU. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's not the truth.
And that's not to say that, people who love the sport as a sport, like you said earlier, hey, Caitlin Clark can ball.
Yeah.
Just truth, she can ball. But, Larry Bird can ball too, but that didn't mean there wasn't a divisiveness when it came to the communities.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we touched on that in the past where I said when I think we was talking about the NBA MVP controversy.
Yeah.
And I was saying how it is a racial component, but it's not one that is like just so there. It's when a Caucasian person does something that's usually dominated by Black people and they do it well and dominate themselves, it's elevated to another level. Like, and now granted, on the women's game, Caitlin Clark is not doing something out of the ordinary, because you mentioned Taurasi, we got Sue Bird, got Rebecca Lobo, you got Brianna Stewart, you got tons of Caucasian women who have dominated the women's game, but she's doing it a bit different.
She is.
She's doing it a bit different, and she's drawing a lot of male viewership into watching it. You know, taking on that moniker of the female Steph Curry, like doing things like that. Like, it's gonna be interesting how they can pick up on this. I mean, as we just talking about this, I'm thinking like, how do they continue to elevate it? Because we're talking about the college game. We're not talking nothing about the WNBA in particular, though.
Well, I was talking about that. I wanted, how do you roll this into the WNBA? The NBA was able to capitalize on Magic and Bird quickly because both those guys were coming into the league that very next year. Bird had already been drafted by Boston, and then Magic ended up with the Lakers. Sort of a dream scenario for them because they both went to winning teams. Lakers got to the finals that first year, the rookie year for those two guys. Celtics went the very next year, and then they just, after that point, they kept meeting up. So it worked out for the NBA. I'm just hoping that, for women's basketball as a whole, that the popularity that, was drawn here can continue.
Though.
Yeah,
it's gonna be tough, man.
And that's what I don't know. I don't know how you sustain that.
Because one thing that I can feel from the women in the WNBA, they're prideful.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're
not going to kowtow to the young people.
Exactly. Although the NBA,
well, you can say you could have said that about the NBA back then too.
But I'm saying, although the NBA was grown men and they probably was prideful as well, a little different. The women already have been fighting. Like, as much as you would think they would embrace it because it may help their game, I don't know if they will, like, to that extent. Like, you put a Clark on the Las Vegas Aces with a Candace Parker who just joined with I can't think of other names, but they might be looking at her like, girl, you the sixth man. You know what the girls say on Love and Basketball. You only here because Tanya Randall got pregnant. So I mean, on Love and Basketball, So
By the way, one of the coolest lines ever.
And she ended up taking that girl's spot. But it's, man, if they can figure it out. But I don't know, man. That's going to be it's hard pressed.
The problem is, and here's the thing, or at least how I see it, and some of it's personal. Personally, I actually enjoy watching women's college basketball more than I do the WNBA.
I do as well.
Why is that?
It's more fan involvement.
I guess it's more fan involvement. It doesn't seem as static. Or as antiseptic. There's more, it's a different kind of energy. It's a different kind of vibe. It's somehow the synergy between the coaches and the players work, whereas in the pros, you don't even really see the coaches as much. There's something to that youthful aspiring to get there, as opposed to, having gotten there and feeling your due should be given, but people still aren't watching you. I don't know. Maybe it's a bit of a league attitudinal aspect. I'm not saying it's a bad attitude. I'm just saying somehow it just doesn't seem to translate as well.
I think it's like when we talked about the World Baseball Classic, how them countries was behind their teams
Right.
and the energy it brought. Like these universities fan bases are typically more in tune than a city fan base. Like
Right.
the Sky won the WNBA championship, and it was kind of like blah in the city of Chicago. We embraced it, but it
didn't carry past that moment.
It didn't really carry, like, and I can't use our state as an example when it comes to any of our college sports because
Not a big college state, right?
We're not a big college state, but you look at
Iowa.
You look at Iowa. Yeah, you look at Iowa. Like that fan base was there, rocking, rocking. And it meant something. It was just a different type of energy there that you're not gonna get that same type of following when they're in the WNBA.
Right. Yeah.
Like you're no longer Iowa now. You're whatever team you're a part of.
And do we know how many teams are in the WNBA? Do we know all the names of those teams? Exactly.
Don't even know.
But Iowa's Iowa, whether it's women's or men's, it's still Iowa. So it's already, the branding in college is already kind of there. It's inherent in the fact that these colleges have been there for some time, and then certain programs have had sustainability. The UConns in the past, current Texas is back in the past, USC back in the past with Cheryl Miller, Tennessee's, Stanford's, all these other schools. Also, too, I think it's going to be tough because you were mentioning how the pros, the guys is prideful and stuff too, and they're not necessarily going to let the rookie shine. But a big part of how rookies have shown in the past and have been able to emerge even from, the superstars or the well-known players in their team is because of the media coverage. Charles Barkley was a round mound of rebound, like 2 or 3 weeks in playing basketball. He wasn't getting all the tick. It was Dr. J's still team. Moses Malone was still there. But Charles Barkley, man, you see this big dude rubber down the court? You're not getting that with the women's sports. No one is taking a time out to see who the best new young player is on that team. They just aren't getting that coverage. It's like it's in a vacuum. It's like it's in a forest and a tree fell and no one knew it fell. That's what happens when they get to the pros. And so it's going to be hard to sustain it past that. I think the more, and it's going to take longer, but the more the coverage, if it can, collegiately speaking, if it can pick up and have sustainability from this point going forward and increase that, and I think NILs may help with that.
Yeah, NIL is going to be a big.
That could be the biggest thing to help college sports, because now potentially. I know Title IX has been a big thing, but maybe it doesn't have to be as detrimental to collegiate sports overall. Maybe some of these other programs can get back, or maybe some of the funding can be there so the women's sports aren't necessarily the ones that weren't necessarily generating money can generate a little bit more money now, and help pay. I mean, like college football pretty much pays for almost everything on a college campus. It doesn't have to be the case now without NILs. You can other schools, other programs can maybe get their own.
They can generate their own funding.
Yeah, it could be a little more self-sustaining. So, 10 years from now, ask us the same question. But I think right now, it's considered a win. Going
definitely was for all. Let's move on to the NBA now. And our team, 38-40.
It's talking about sustainability.
38-40 in the 10th spot right now. All right. 3.5 up on the Wizards. And I believe we can clinch.
Yeah, we win our next one.
With a win, yeah.
Oh, look at you. You said we.
Win over Atlanta.
Look at that. Yes. They almost go a playoff team now.
We go to the play-in. Ooh.
They'll go to the play-in, right? Even the playoff shit, just the play-in.
That's the play-in, man. That's what matters now. We get to the tournament to get to the tournament.
So explain that to me again. If you're in the 10th spot, you got to win that game. You don't get another shot.
Yeah, you got to win. 2 games.
So you play the 9.
Right.
Okay.
The 9 and 10 play each other. The winner of that plays the loser of 7 and 8.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then
So you got to
so you got to win 2 in that.
They only got to win
in the
1.
bottom 2.
So the winner of 7 and 8 is good.
Winner of 7 and 8
they're in the playoffs.
They're 7.
They're in. Yeah.
They're 7.
Yeah.
The loser is playing the winner of 9-10 for the 8th spot.
Right.
Okay. That's actually kind of interesting. I think we said this last year.
I think it's awesome because it keeps pretty much the entire conference.
Yeah, pretty much
is in play. Up until the very end.
Yeah.
So, even teams that are tanking technically are still
you still can't take
in
enough
position. Yeah.
You can't take enough for the NBA. No, I think you still got a chance.
It's actually I think it's a brilliant move by David Silver.
Adam
Silver. I said David.
Conflating
David
commissioners.
Wrong. Yes. Wrong.
Combined the name.
Yeah. Wrong commissioner. Oh man. But
Adam Stern, David Stein.
The Bulls continue to be this team that that hangs with the good teams, beats the good teams, and then has trouble with the Lakers.
Middling team.
They did beat Charlotte. They did beat Charlotte the other night.
I mean, let's not say the Lakers like they're not trending up.
They are trending up. I gotta give you that. What have they? I think they're in the 7th spot now.
Yeah, they're in the 7. Yeah.
They're trending up. I'll give you that.
And we split with them. We went 3-1 on the year with them versus them.
No, 1-1.
No, 1-1.
No, I'm saying on the entire season we went 3-1 versus them.
No, just 1-1.
No, they only played 2.
I thought we. Oh,
okay. Thought the Lakers. Yeah.
You're conflating the Clippers. And
you're talking the Clippers.
You're saying all of LA.
Yeah.
Yeah, whenever you play the other conference, it's just 2 games home and away.
But the Memphis game, I don't know. Did you guys see the Memphis game?
Bits and pieces. I saw when they were getting their butt whooped.
I didn't see it because I was watching the women's national championship game.
Nice, good for you.
Yeah. But from what I understand, they were down 23, down 15 at the half.
Yes,
and
I saw that part.
And came back and won 128-107. And I was like, damn, I wish I would have watched the game. And I was like, nah, I was watching that women's championship game. I'm cool. I'm cool. I can miss one.
Right.
I can miss one. But this playing thing, man. One more win. They clinched at least that 10th spot. And it's I don't know if it's exciting, but hopefully this team is sort of trending up.
So can they win 2 games in a row? And the team that they're playing, are they under 500 like the Bulls, which means we don't have a better chance of beating them?
Yeah, we could. They could win 2 in a row. They will play Toronto to start out. They could probably beat them. Mm-hmm. And then likely they'll play Atlanta, who's been quite frankly, the Bulls still has a chance to end up at the 8th spot.
Yeah, they're only a game back.
They still have a chance
back of Atlanta.
But I think they could beat the 2 teams that they will potentially play. But they can also lose. I'm not saying they can't lose either, but it doesn't matter. Neither is winning versus Boston or Milwaukee. So
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, to what end does it matter at this point? Like,
it doesn't really matter.
I mean, I would say between the 2, I'd rather Bulls play Boston. I mean, I think they beat Boston 3 times this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we have to get the 7 to play Boston. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, Milwaukee's a tougher sell because they don't have anybody that can stop Grayson Allen.
Well, we got Pat Bev now. Let Grayson do that crazy shit if you want to.
That's true.
That's real.
Now you just got me excited because that's what I want to see. Let Grayson try to do some crazy stuff now. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, this definitely is not the same.
He gonna get dealt with this time.
This
Ain't
is
nobody
not
stop
the same heartless team before as before. They got something now.
I told y'all, man, needed that personality. He's changed the team a bit, but I mean, we still ain't gonna win nothing. But
No.
hey, it's been a
But
positive team since he's come.
I still want to see my team playing in the actual playoff, though. Just even if it's for experience, playing a good
experience.
team.
What does that do? Well, I mean, so you get beat in the first round. That's good experience. I mean, how does that make you?
Because you're still playing in a playoff environment.
I say, what do it do when
They did that last year
when you're not playing?
Yeah, and
this
year they didn't have a point guard.
They didn't have one last year. I mean, how most of the year they didn't. After January, they didn't. I mean, like, we talk about experience. Like, what did they learn last year? Because it didn't seem like they learned shit because they came back and they were struggling most of the year. I mean, I guess they learned how to beat good teams and forgot how to beat bad teams.
Yeah, there was the inverse of last year. Yeah,
that's what we learned, huh?
Yeah,
okay. That's why we under 500. You play more bad teams than good in the NBA.
Yeah, I don't know where this team is trending, but I mean, it's nice to see them win. Pat Bev has been a marked difference in terms of just nothing else. Just guys being able to go back into their regular roles. Him kind of being the point guard, so to speak, help everybody else kind of get back to their roles, and the communication on defense is way better. So, I mean, yeah, they're playing better as a team, and that's nice. That's about all I can say. That's all I can say about that. Life's like a box of chocolates.
Wait, I'm lost now. I'm looking at the standings here. Washington is right below the Bulls, but according to this, they've been eliminated.
Washington?
Yeah, but Orlando is tied with them and are still.
Maybe they have a losing record against the Bulls.
They might have.
That's okay.
And Orlando has a winning or a better record against the Bulls. That'd be my guess.
Okay. I just looked at that. That's interesting. Okay. Let's move on to Bears.
The Bears
still, as of right now, have owned the number 9 pick in the draft, and one Jalen Carter
till they trade down.
Well, that's a possibility. Jalen Carter was at Hallis Hall today to visit with the team. Any chance now that he falls?
Hell no.
There's no shot. Did you see
did he fall to the Bears? That's possible. He might fall to the Bears, but the Bears at my hell no was it the Bears ain't taking him.
I didn't know that Drew Rosenhaus is his agent.
Yes, another reason why I don't think the Bears are going to take him.
And he announced today he's not taking any meetings with anyone outside of the top 10,
which is goofy. And why Rosenhaus we advise him that way is even more goofy. Because ain't no guarantee that the teams in the top 10 are going to be the teams in the top 10. Somebody could trade up.
That's very true.
Because you didn't meet with them, you just screwed yourselves out of however many millions of dollars. Knucklehead. Another bad decision. I mean, come on, man. I just look. You know what, dude? I'm like later for Jalen Carter. I don't care how talented you are. You seem like you're going to be a narcissistic problem going forward. You like already Albert Haynes were without the $100 million to me at this point.
He needs to be with a team that has veteran presence. We don't.
You know what?
He's going to spiral out of control here.
I play do something else. You don't need to play football because, and I'm being harsh when I say that, but I'm saying that because it's annoying. Because it's like, dude, you're not even on a team yet, and you're acting entitled. And not only you're not on a team, but you didn't even prove anything in your pro day, which is like a layup. Like everything you've pretty much done since you won a national championship has been a self-absorbed, self-destructive montage of what you should just not do. And then you come in with the audacity, more or less, be like, hey, we're not talking to anybody who's not picking top 10 because, that's where we figure we're going to be. Really? This?
What's the strategy there?
Dude, I don't know.
I mean,
I really
Drew Rosenhaus is smart.
is he?
I was just about to say, is he?
for for him to have as many clients as he's had over the years,
Yeah.
top notch clients,
Well, sure
to get the contracts he's got, he has to be somewhat smart.
maybe some stuff passes a person by. You know, those antics may have worked then. I don't know how much it's going to be working now. And if you're not getting with the program, if you're not flexing, if you're not evolving or reassessing how you support and present your client, you may be doing them a disservice in the long run. Because, like you said, what is the upside here? Why even say something like that, dude? You should be like, whoever wants to talk to me, I'm so grateful, thank you. That would be my advice to you. And not that you're kissing ass, but you're just saying thank you. I appreciate that because I know I've messed up twice already, significantly. And twice is being generous. Okay. But then you will come back with, we're not talking to anybody who's not top 10. Really? Because you know who the top 10 is going to be? I mean, dude, the Bears could easily trade out of the 9 spot. Easily. Which means that if the Eagles were going to take you at 10, maybe some teams trading up that might have wanted you. But now, after talking to the Bears, because you just met with the Bears, they're like, maybe not. So that team that would have traded up and taken you at 9 is like, nah, never mind. And then the Eagles are like, well, I don't know, man. We got enough DTs. It'd be nice to have them, but we really do need that cornerback. But we really do need some other position. But if you had talked to, I don't know, the Tennessee Titans, or if you had talked to, I don't know, the Jets or whoever it was that might have wanted to move up to get you, they may have been more inclined to do so. Now you might just talk yourself out of a definite top 10 pick.
What if someone's already told him that, yeah, we're taking you at, let's say, 6?
Really? How many times have we heard we're taking you? Ask Randy Moss how many times he heard that he was going to be taken. I mean, that's Randy after Moss, okay? So whatever you hear about somebody say they're going to take you, that's an age-old story, man. A lot of people say things, and people change their mind, and they may mean it when they told you, but they may change their mind because something else happens. Somebody other deal comes along. Somebody else falls down. All these. I mean, look, man, we've seen stories where guys are sitting there until tomorrow saying get drafted. Geno Smith to get drafted the next day. Aaron Rodgers got drafted in the early mid-20s. We've seen Brady Quinn drop. Warren Sapp drop. Larry Tunsil drop. I mean, we've seen guys elevated up, came out of nowhere, and be taken. So Adam Archuleta, like, really? Seriously? So you don't know. And that's just a bonehead advice. Yeah, the Lions could possibly take you at 6. I could see that happening. Seattle, maybe. I don't necessarily know. It all depends on what quarterback's available. The Raiders are not going to take you for the same reason I told you guys they're not going to take you. I think they came out recently said for the same reason I was saying because of that accident with Ruggs. There's no way they're going to align themselves.
Yeah.
It's just a bad look. So that's one team that really needs you, that could really use you because they're soft in the middle. They can really use you. They're not going to take you. The Falcons, I mean, yeah, it might be a nice story, but they're probably like, yeah, no, we know too much. We have too many contacts at Georgia to let us know that maybe we should pass on you and take, Tyree Wilson if he's there. The Bears aren't going to take you. And the Eagles could, but they may not. So you could very easily fall out of the top 10.
Don't be. This is his second time talking to the Bears now.
I mean, but he's a part of the top 30 visits that they're doing. So
yeah, dude. Trust me. The Bears, if the Bears don't talk to him, the Bears are saying something out loud. And the Bears don't want to show their hand about or give anyone anything that could help them out or hinder them from being able to make any kind of moves. They just don't. There's a reason why Poles made the move as quick as he did. So it's align themselves in a situation to have more options. The Bears talking to him just keeps those options viable. That's all.
You brought up the Bears trading down. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm like, huh?
How far down?
If I'm the Patriots at 14, and I'm looking at the Eagles going, the Eagles are probably eyeing Devin Witherspoon from Illinois because Christian Gonzalez already went and was already taken. The next cornerback is probably Devin Witherspoon. And we know the Eagles, although they re-signed James Bradbury, they still need depth there. They're pretty much deep everywhere else. Maybe I want to get ahead of the Eagles because as the Patriots, they're a team that's more ready to win now than the Bears are and some other teams. And they have a lot of picks that they, from this draft class. So, and they've made moves with the Bears before, so that they have a decent rapport. They jump up to 9, Bears go down to 14. Now the Bears get another couple of picks, get an additional pick for this draft, another pick for the next draft, and maybe the draft after, maybe get 2 additional picks. And the Bears are at 14. Now, who's still around? Well, 1 or 2 offensive linemen will still be available. Nolan Smith, if he's still there, looks a lot better at 14 than he does 9. Jackson Smith and Jigba, if he's still there, looks a lot better at 14 than he does 9. I can still take an offensive lineman. I can still take a pass rusher. Maybe I take Miles Murphy. At 9, I don't feel as good about him. He might last 18, but at 14, I feel better about it at 14. You're in a position now where you can still get what you might need, or maybe you want a cornerback, maybe Joey Porter Jr. You like that, and you get a corner. Now you got a solid corner. It gives you flexibility. It gives you more draft capital, and the Patriots can kind of get what they want. So that's a possibility. Maybe the Titans at 11 want to get Paris Johnson. They really love Paris Johnson, and they feel like the Bears may take him. So the Bears are like, yeah, we like him too, but hey, what you gonna give us? Because the Bears are like, we like Paris Johnson, but we also like Broderick Jones too. We just had on a football night in Chicago, we had Willie Anderson, who's potential Hall of Fame candidate, talk about both Paris Johnson and Broderick Jones, that he's trained both of those guys. Broderick Jones down in Georgia where he lives, and Paris Johnson was coming down there to learn from Willie Anderson. He's like both of those guys. He didn't really see much of it. It's like both those guys have high upside. I really like them both. Now, yeah, he might have a personal stake in it.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though. There's certain things athletes don't normally say other athletes are really good unless they think they're really good. Really good. I'm not saying they're talking about to disparage someone, but I'm talking about where they like, no, this dude is something. Usually they don't say that because it looks bad on them, So, and again, we're not talking about a 5th round pick and a 1st round pick. We're talking about 2 first round quality players. So it's not like these guys are punks to begin with, or suckers or whatever. So yeah, man. I mean, the Bears I could definitely see them trading down because 9, it's like best player position available, but do we have to take an offensive lineman number 1? We don't have to. There's some really good ones. They could take an offensive lineman in the 2nd round. There's a dude out of Syracuse, Matthew Bergeron, who's just the same kind of measurables, 6'5", 311. He's got some length to his arms, athletic. Came in starting in the ACC. Has played a whole bunch of games, got experience. No one's talking about him. I can see that real smart dude. I can see, East Coast kid. That's where Poles came from, Boston College, Syracuse, East Coast. I can see him easily taking Matthew Bergeron and taking some other position that we might need where a more athletic, more impact player, maybe a cornerback. So yeah, man, it ain't nothing said. I think this is going to be a pretty, I don't want to say wild, but it will be a very active draft, I think, in the next few weeks.
Yeah, I'll say trading out of 1, especially as low as 9, I would actually be 100% fine if they continue to not just continue to keep trading down, but trade down again to try to get more picks. We're in a position where quantity is kind of on a higher priority than quality right now.
Right.
I mean, you want
Premium
quality.
Premium quality.
Premium quality. If you can get a bunch of good players as opposed to maybe getting one great player, I think we're in a better shape. Like we need so much, man. Yeah,
Yes.
you want that great player, but we need a bunch of good players to field so many positions, and you're not going to field all those positions with great players.
Right.
If you get a bunch of good players, a bunch of good talent that can fill in these holes, we're on the up and ups quicker than we think, man. So the more the merrier when it comes to this draft capital. And like you said, if going from 9 to 11 or 9 to 14, you give yourselves options to do a lot. And especially depending on what you get by making that trade. So, I'm all for it.
Well,
see what happens.
To your point, to your quantitative point, what you're doing is you're giving yourself a greater margin for error. So you don't have to hit on that number one pick as decidedly as you would have otherwise if you just maintain the first pick overall or the 9th pick. Now you have the 14th pick, but I've got a litany of other players. So if I miss with this dude, I got another dude. And the other thing is that premium player or those premium players you might want, you have a better chance of getting them next year. Because now I just need one player here or I need one player there, and you've got 2 first-round picks to play with. Now I can get premium cats. Now here we go. That's pretty much what we saw the Jaguars do. We saw the Jets do that. And that's why those teams are in good position.
You might catch a dummy that'll give you a first round next year too.
You might
just
to move up.
Just don't trade down and end up with Michael Haynes. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Let's make sure that doesn't happen. If the tackle of the future is there, you get that tackle. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. We got a mock draft coming up?
No, not some of the mock draft. What I've been doing is focusing on positions for the next several weeks. Last week was defensive lineman. This week's going to be offensive lineman. The next 2 will be edge rushers. I'll end with edge rushers and also have wide receivers. I think those are some of the positions that the Bears will be focusing on. There will be a final mock, though, the week leading into the draft. That's when the last mock before the draft comes up.
Gotcha. You can catch our GM Glenn on NBC Sports Chicago, Football Night in Chicago, NBCSportsChicago.com. Catch all his work. He does a great job, as you can tell by his knowledge that he gives us every week. Let's finally, before we take off, the baseball season has started. We're a season in. We're a series in, and the rule changes. I think are getting a really good. What am I trying to say here? People
Review?
are really, good review. Yeah, people are really, really liking the changes here. Number one, the game times are down. It's crazy.
It is. Some games have been like what 210, 220?
Yeah. Just over 2 hours.
I heard have went up.
I heard, and you guys can check me on this. I heard that they're going to implement that same clock on us for our podcast.
That's possible. It's possible. We got to speed that shit up. But no. Yeah, you brought up the stolen bases. I think
the bases are bigger.
Well, yeah.
That's so goofy.
One team, I think the Orioles stole more bases. They stole like 10 bases
already
in a series, which is like the most in an opening series since 1901.
Wow.
Opening day, the total amount of stolen bases was the most since 1907.
Man.
So the bases being bigger means I get there a little sooner?
Yeah.
And teams are running, man. Teams are running.
I guess I'd have been doing it anyway, but
it's been, I think it's been a lot of fun. I've actually watched a couple of games in its entirety. That
What?
never happens. Yeah,
I don't believe you. I don't believe
it's
you.
true. It's true.
I love it, man. I think some change. I think some will be rescinded, like not the pitch clock, but the batter having to be like making contact with the pitcher type thing. I think
Or
that one's going to eventually,
ready by 8 seconds. I
yeah,
think
something like that. Yeah, I think that one's going to eventually go away. I mean, I just look at it like this: if he ain't in the box ready and I'm on the clock, just let me
Throw it.
throw. You
Yeah,
get what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like, that I think that will eventually go away. But other than that, like it works. And like I was listening to John Smoltz talk about the pitch clock and how health related it's going to help because these now that you're giving these pitchers all this time and all they want to do is rev up and throw 110 miles per hour. Now with them having to work faster, they have to work smarter. You can't just keep revving up like that. You're gonna burn your arm out much sooner, so like guys gonna actually have to know how to pitch again. And that's the purpose. Like get back to baseball, man. All this other stuff, man. All this analytical stuff has killed the game. And we'll see how it keeps up. Now, hopefully they don't go crazy with the implementation of this stuff early on and then start laxing up later.
Yeah.
Like stay firm with what you're doing and let it continue, and we'll see.
So the baseball enthusiast still has his enthusiasm for baseball, even with the changes. That's what I should take away from this.
Oh yeah. See, I'm not one of them get off my lawn type people,
yeah.
And want baseball to stay the same. Don't change the game, and then be the main ones complaining that no one watches or plays it. No, something has to change. Like you can't keep doing the same stuff and expect better results from viewers and participation with players and all that, man. Something got to change. Simple as that.
Well, I guess it's changing, and I think it's for the good. And being that I work in sports media, it's helped me out tremendously.
How quick was that 12-3 loss today?
It actually, man, that game moved, man.
I'm sure
it moved. They was flying out, especially
back to back.
Especially in the fifth inning. Oh my goodness. Cope, I don't know what was up with Kopech, man, but he just it was solo homer barrage today.
He just didn't have a feel for it.
Rate, man. But like you said, the game was moving. I looked up, I was like, oh my God, we're an hour in and we're in the top of the fifth. What's going on?
Wow.
But they're gonna be all right, man. I'm a little worried. The starting pitching hasn't been, outside of Kopech today for the White Sox. Starting pitching hasn't been all that bad. It's the bullpen that I've been a little worried about.
Really?
Yeah. And I don't get how Jose Ruiz keeps getting run out there, and he gave up a grand slam late in the game today. But I digress. But yeah, they're gonna be all right. My boys are gonna be all right, man. They're gonna be all right. How your Yankees looking?
Straight 3-1.
Yeah.
8-1 win today.
That's what's expected.
Yeah,
that's what's expected.
Main thing for us every year. Got to stay healthy.
If you get a chance, watch the documentary Reggie on Reggie Jackson on Amazon Prime. Very good watch.
I've heard. I gotta watch it. I've been trying to wait till I have nothing going on so that I can lock in on it.
I got a newfound respect for Reggie Jackson after watching that. So yeah, hey fellas, let's get out of here. It's been great. That's going to do it for this week's edition of the Easy Smoking the GM podcast. I want to thank you all for listening. We greatly appreciate it. You can catch our podcast at Apple Podcasts, Google, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon, or wherever you find your favorite podcast. You can also catch us at hp53productions.com. There you find a link to our podcast and the Super Duper podcast hosted by Rob Griggs and the Father Good podcast hosted by Marshall Givens and Kenny Stevenson. Yo, Glenn.
Yep.
Please take us out.
Hey, it's like we always say. We ain't saying we're right. We just don't think we're wrong.
Definitely weren't wrong in that women's championship game. We catch you next week.